This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 253, Tipiṭaka, part 167, in which I will continue reading the Tipiṭaka, the three baskets of pre-sectarian early Buddhism. If you would like to start at the beginning of the Tipiṭaka, you can click right there. And that'll start you at the beginning of the first book. Today we're reading Mahāvagga VI, and it's part 2 of Mahāvagga VI. Mahāvagga means the Great Division, and it comes after the rules for monks and the rules for nuns. So far there's 6 divisions. I don't know how many divisions there are in total because I'm reading this all for the first time and letting myself be surprised by whatever comes next. If you would like to start at the beginning of Mahāvagga, that's only about, 35 episodes ago instead of 167 episodes ago. There's the Mahāvagga playlist. And I'll get right to it. Welcome. If you're a little confused about what this is, and you're not sure whether or not you're interested in hearing the Tipiṭaka, feel free to check out the podcast introduction, and it'll let you know about all the various books that we read on Buddhist Books Podcast, and you can decide which one you want to hear. Here's the introduction. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and begin the reading now. Picking up right where we left off last time. Now at that time, monks used to place pulverized ointments in small bowls and saucers. They were littered with powdered grass and dust. 3 dots. Quote, "I allow monks an ointment box." End quote. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks, we all know and love the group of 6 monks, used various kinds of ointment boxes made of gold, made of silver. People looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, "like householders who enjoy pleasures of the senses." End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, various kinds of ointment boxes should not be used. Whoever should use, parentheses 1, end parentheses, there is an offensive wrongdoing. I allow, parentheses them, end parentheses, monks, parentheses, to be, end parentheses, made of bone, made of ivory, made of horn, made of reed, made of bamboo, made of a piece of stick, made of luck, made of crystal, made of copper, made of the center of a conch shell." End quote. I find it interesting that he doesn't want the monks to use anything fancy, just things like crystal and ivory. How our standards have changed. It's sort of like how in ancient Greece, lobster was considered food that poor people ate. And so there's an exception made during certain fasts in Eastern Orthodoxy, especially Greek Orthodox, that you're not allowed to eat meat, but lobster is okay. So Greek families in places like the United States get to enjoy a lobster dinner for Thanksgiving while still remaining within their fast. All right, the nativity fast. Sometimes it's Thanksgiving is. I'll keep reading. Right. Now at that time, monks put on ointment with parentheses there, end parentheses fingers. Parentheses there, end parentheses eyes, became painful. That happened to me yesterday. I was handling green chilies. And then I went like this. It was not good. Quote, I allow monks an ointment stick. End parentheses. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks used various kinds of ointment sticks made of gold, made of silver. People looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, like householders who enjoy pleasures of the senses. End quote. 3 dots. Quote, monks. Various kinds of ointment sticks should not be used. Whoever should use one, there is an offensive wrongdoing. I allow, parentheses, them, end parentheses, monks, parentheses, to be, end parentheses, made of bone, 3 dots, presumably all of the same stuff that the ointment boxes are allowed to be made of, including crystal, made of the center of a conch shell. And, quote, it's interesting to consider that perhaps 2,600 years ago, crystal was something you would just find walking down the path or the street or whatever. And so many people picked up and kept all the crystals that now they're rare to find. Maybe. All right. Now at that time, an ointment stick falling to the ground became rough. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a case for the sticks. End quote. Now at that time, monks carried about ointment boxes and ointment sticks in their hands. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a bag for the ointment box. End quote. There was no strap at the edge. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a strap at the edge, a thread for tying, end quotes. So you've got a bag for your box in which you keep your sticks that you use with another box in which you keep your ointment. I mean, are we ascetic or not? It seems like we're getting kind of, I'm just playing. So these are things that ancient Buddhist monks were allowed to have. Cool. As long as they weren't gold or silver, just ivory or crystal is fine. Continuing. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilandavacha had a headache. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a small quantity of oil for the head. End quote. He did not get better. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks, quote, parentheses, medical, and parentheses, treatment through the nose. End quote. His nose ran. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a nose spoon. End quote. You heard it here first. Lord Buddha in the Tipiṭaka allowed for a nose spoon. Never mind. I'll just keep reading. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks used various kinds of nose spoons made of gold, made of silver. People, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, like householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses. 3 dots, quote, monks. Various kinds of nose spoons should not be used. Whoever should use one, there is an offensive wrongdoing. I allow, parentheses, them, and parentheses, monks, parentheses, to be, and parentheses, made of bone, 3 dots, made of the center of a conch shell. End quote. They poured it up the nose in uneven quantities. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a double nose spoon. End quote. He did not get better. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks to inhale steam. End quote. So they inhaled it after they had lit a wick. It burnt their throats. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a tube for the steam. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks use all kinds of tubes for the steam, 3 dots, parentheses, the Pali Text Society. Thank you, the Pali Text Society. That's polytextsociety.org if you want your own set of Tipiṭaka. Sorry. They put in parentheses, it's the same as in the stuff before. Okay, 3 dots. Quote, I allow, parentheses, them, and parentheses, monks, parentheses, to be, and parentheses, made of bone. 3 dots. Made of the center of a conch shell. End quote. Now at that time, tubes for the steam were not covered, and small creatures got in. Quote, I allow monks a lid. End quote. Now at that time, monks carried about tubes for the steam in their hands. Quote, I allow monks a bag for the tubes for the steam. End quote. They got rubbed together. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a double bag. End quote. There was no strap at the edge. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks a strap at the edge, a thread for tying. I'm starting to picture these ancient Buddhist monks walking around like your buddy at the Renaissance fair with like things hanging off the belt and pouches and all kinds of things hanging out on the kissing bridge. Well, maybe not that last part, but never mind. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilindavacha had an affliction of wind. You all know what this really means, right? An affliction of wind? When air is moving in an unpleasant way for the people around him. Might be very pleasant for Pilindavacha, but never mind. Physicians spoke thus, quote, oil must be boiled, end quote, 3 dots, quote, I allow monks a decoction of oil. Now strong drink had to be mixed in that decoction of oil, quote, I allow monks to mix strong drink in a decoction of oil, end quote, that means alcohol. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks boiled oils mixed with too much strong drink. Having drunk these, they were intoxicated. Quote, monks, oil mixed with too much strong drink should not be drunk. Whoever should, parentheses, sow, and parentheses, drink, should be dealt with according to the rule. I allow you, monks, if neither the color, nor the smell, nor the taste of strong drink appears in any decoction of oil, to drink oil mixed with strong drink, if it is like this. End quote. Now at that time, monks came to have much boiled oil mixed with too much strong drink. Then it occurred to these monks, quote, now what course of conduct should be followed when there is oil mixed with too much strong drink? End quote, 3 dots, quote, I allow you monks to employ it as an unguent. Okay. For wind? Where do you apply it? Never mind. I don't really want to know. End quote. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilindavacha came to have a quantity of boiled oil, but there was no receptacle for it. Quote, I allow you, monks, 3 kinds of vessels, a copper vessel, a wooden vessel, a vessel, parentheses, made of, and parentheses, fruit. End quote. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilindavacha had rumanism of the limbs. Quote, I allow monks a sweating treatment. End quote. He got no better. 3 dots. Quote, I allow monks sweating by the use of all kinds of herbs. End quote. He got no better. Is that a thing that people said in the 1930s? That it made sense to translate the Pali? He got no better. All right. He didn't get better, perhaps. Quote, I allow monks the great sweating. Really? Doesn't that violate Parajika 1? Just kidding. Obviously, that's not what they mean. End quote. He got no better. Quote, I allow monks, parentheses, the use of, end parentheses, hemp water. H-E-M-P hyphen water. You heard it here first. A Coke spoon and, end quote, sorry. It's not a Coke spoon, it's a nose spoon. Not the same thing. He got no better. I allow monks, parentheses, the use of, end parentheses, a water vat. End quote. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilindavacha had rheumatism even, in the joints. Quote, I allow you monks to let blood. Oh, goody. End quote. He got no better. Quote, I allow you monks, having let blood, to cup with a horn. End quote. Now at that time, the Venerable Pilindavacha's feet came to be split. Quote, I allow you monks an unguent for the feet. Quote, he got no better. Quote, I allow you monks to prepare a foot salve. End quote. Now at that time, a certain monk came to have boils. Feeling enlightened yet? Ooh, I'm so enlightened now. Sorry. Quote, I allow monks treatment with a lancet. End quote. There was need of astringent water. Quote, I allow monks astringent water. End quote. There was need of sesame paste. Sesamum. There we go. I think we call it sesame. Sesamum paste. Quote, I allow monks sesamum paste. End quote. There was need of a compress. Quote, I allow monks a compress. End quote. There was need of a piece of cloth for tying over the sore. Quote, I allow monks a piece of cloth for tying over the sore. End quote. The sore itched. Quote, I allow monks to sprinkle it with mustard powder. End quote. The sore festered. Quote, I allow monks to make a fumigation. End quote. The flesh of the sore stood up. Quote, I allow you monks to cut it off with a piece of salt crystal. End quote. The sore did not heal. Quote, I allow monks oil for the sore. End quote. The oil ran. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow monks a linen bandage. Parentheses, and parentheses, every treatment for curing a sore. Every treatment? End quote. Sorry. Now at that time, a certain monk was bitten by a snake. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to give the 4 great irregular things. Parentheses, a decoction of, end parentheses, dung, urine, ashes, clay. End quote. Then it occurred to the monks, quote, parentheses, may they be used, end parentheses, even if they are not, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, received. How do you informally receive dung, urine, ash, and clay? Never mind. I don't want to know. Formally. No, never mind. Or should they be, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, received? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to make use of them if someone to make them is what? If someone to make them allowable is there, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, to offer them to you. Having taken them yourselves, if there is no one to make them allowable. End parentheses. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk came to have drunk poison. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to make him drink, parentheses, a concoction of, end parentheses, dung. That's poop, for those of you who... End quote. Then it occurred to the monks, quote, parentheses, may it be drunk, end parentheses, even if it is not, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, received, or should it be, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, offered, end parentheses. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow, monks, that if he receives, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, that which, parentheses, someone, end parentheses, is making allowable, then he has once, parentheses, formally, when he has once, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, received it, that it need not be, parentheses, formally, end parentheses, offered again. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk had an affliction resulting from drinking something poisonous. Quote, I allow you monks to make him drink, parentheses, a decoction of, end parentheses, mud, oh thank God, turned up by the plow, end quote. Now at that time a certain monk was constipated. Quote, I allow you monks to make him drink raw lye. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk had jaundice. Quote, I allow you monks to make him drink, parentheses, a compound of cow's, end parentheses, urine, and yellow myrobalan. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk had a skin disease. Quote, I allow you monks to make a perfume paste. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk's body came to be full of, parentheses, bad, end parentheses, humors. Quote, I allow him monks to drink a purgative, end quote. There was need of clarified kanji. Quote, I allow monks clarified kanji. End quote. There was need of unprepared broth. Quote, I allow monks unprepared broth. End quote. There was need of prepared and unprepared. Quote, I allow monks prepared and unprepared. End quote. There was need of meat broth. Quote, I allow monks meat broth. End quote. You heard it here first. A Coke spoon, marijuana water, and meat broth. Buddha says it's A-OK. No, not exactly. It was a nose spoon as long as it's made of crystal or ivory and not gold or silver. It was hemp water, which is the same thing as what I said. And he did allow meat broth. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close there. I hope that you enjoyed. The good news about reading about all of this. The thing is, I'm insisting on reading every word of pre-sectarian early Buddhist scripture. I'm not skipping any of it. And the more we read about Lord Buddha giving permission to use things to cure boils and things like that, the sooner we'll get to the good stuff. Maybe in 2025 or 2026, I'm not sure. But thank you for going along this journey with me, as I slowly make my way toward the good stuff, which comes in the second basket. That's where the teachings are. We're reading the first basket, or if you put them in this particular order, with the Vinaya Piṭaka, the discipline basket, coming first. Some of it's good, some of it's interesting, some of it kind of makes you go, There you go. Don't forget to meditate. If you spent half an hour watching this, you should definitely spend a half an hour meditating. If you want to. I don't know if you're into that sort of thing. I guess that's it. I guess I'm done. This has been Buddhist Books part 253, episode 253. And next time it'll be, 254. And we'll go from there. And remember, when 255 comes, we'll be reading some Shingon Buddhism. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do the closing now, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us, and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.